All right, so another Wusik Station 10 coding video. Again, just warning that's just a video about me coding Wusik Station 10. So it's all about coding. And the last time I was starting to build the layers to show the layers list in the interface. Already completed the interface. And now I have to, in this area here, start drawing the actual layer graphics in this case. I'm also going to change something. Let me adjust the microphone. I'm going to change the background that goes there because I was first going to use a background that gets stretched, but I decided not to do like that because it's going to complicate the process. Instead, let me find my layer background. Oh, this guy here. And instead, I'm just going to repeat the background pattern. So let me here. First, I'm going to remove the pink line. I'm not going to use it anymore. More pink line. And also no more bevels. For that, I'm just going to leave this bevel on the left, but on the top and the bottom, I'm not going to do any bevel. We should be able to repeat more seamlessly. So, right, always say that's wrong. Okay, that should cut out the top and bottom bevels. And I'm only going to know if it's going to look good when I start using it. It's going to save. Now I have to change the cached files. I have to run the cached compilation again, which creates these files, the cached files, with the right colors and everything. So I'm going to run it, but first I'm going to remove. See where I created the enumerators for this guy here. I don't think I was using it anyway, so I'm not going to use anymore. And during the construction of the back layer, I don't need to update it in here. I don't need to calculate anything, and I don't need to remove anything. So I just do this for the layers all. Okay. So now I'm going to reconstruct the cache files. So while to do that, okay, that should be it. So now I'm going to start computing the layers and trying to think. The first layers are actually going to be the last layer. That's the global layer. Look at my layers file in here. This is the global stuff, the modulations and everything else. So one thing that are going to need it, I've already created a variable for that. Layer screw size. Actually doesn't need to be 2 pointers to like X and Y, just the position. Just this height position. And the first layer is always the global layer. So index 0, that's the global layer. Otherwise, it's just a regular layer. So the first thing I'm going to do is calculate the size of the thing. This goes in here, if I'm not mistaken, here. Going to calculate that using the layer overlay positions. So add layer overlay bottom. I'm thinking I'm going to do this in a different way because I'm going to create I'm going to create another function here. So I'm going to create this bottom. It's the interface, and I'm going to do this at the last place, but could be. Oh, actually, can be in this file because this file is for that. Void date base. Yeah, that's going to be much better. So if I'm not mistaken, that should work correctly. So this should be changed. So the layer height is going to be overlay top space. Or maybe not. No, I'm not going to put top space in here because I want the actual size. And I just draw using the top space as a position. Now here I have to check all the sound generators. But the first thing I have to put the layer relay top. It's the same for everyone. Then there is the sound generators list. So at the mix voice generator list, poly generator list, sampler list. Trying to remember how I did that. Mix voice generator list. Let me take a look at the original file. Module. So if it's a sound generator, add to the mix voice generator list. Okay, that's the one I wanted. So here I should be able to do another array iterator. Hmm. Now I can check what's the name of the sound generator. Module custom name, no. I have to check on the, don't have the name in here. It's the model custom name. I don't remember if the custom name is going to show what I want. Where's being used then? See a lot of place reading it, but where it gets weighted. So gets defined. Oh, now let's take a look at the whole solution. I find it. Because I need to know if the sample player, if it's the oscillator, or whatever. And I need to know if this is being defined. Because I haven't used this for a while. So many places. Oh boy. You haven't figured out how the name goes. Just out of curiosity. I'm just going to check what is throwing out. Otherwise, I have to check on the full list of modules to see which model is that. I'm just trying to avoid that. It's empty. It's not going to help me. So it's just easier to actually check the whole list again. Like I do it in here. I just check the generators array and check if it's a sound generator. And from there I can get oh, of course. Generators array goes in the layers one step extra. Okay, now I should have much more information from the module, especially module name. Now it should give me the sample player, tree oscillator, and stuff like that. Just have to check the module names. Sample player, that's correct. So sample player, we add the size of the sample player. And for now, for this testing, it's just loading the initial patch, so it's always going to be the sample player. Okay, let me see again what's going on in here. We have the top space, the top area, and all these always go last. So use the layer height to really check. But there's a problem in here. The global layer. The global layer going to remove from here and add to the bottom instead. If index higher than 0, just ignore the first one. That's very quick to happen, so it's not a big deal. So we're going to draw all the knobs and stuff here on the top, the filter, the amplitude envelope. So we need to get amp envelope, mod generator. So envelope. Then we go through the filters. There should always be at least one filter. Filter generator list, that's the one. Go to the filter list. So get the amplitude envelope, the filters list, and the stuff here on the top belongs to the layer, to the master. Then we add the size. That whole module instead. No problem. Just have to be careful. Go envelope, the filter list, and the height gets added. And on the last part, the bottom, and the bottom space I don't need to worry about. So, okay, we have another problem in here. Let me check my variation of the layers. Spread widget. We have the height of the layer, but I also need the position. The position can be just one position on the y axis. Position Y. Oh, we create a new layer. Check if I already created a variable to hold the layers anywhere. Yes, on the editor. No problem. Okay, I can live with that. So let's see. Editor, layers, add new layer. Name of the layer. Uh, and I have to pass the background information, position, and everything else. So the position is going to be screw layers height. Instead. Oh, I need the background first. Okay. Background. I don't remember. Let me check again. Oh, it's on the should be cache page. Starting to think that I'm not going to have the background there. You have to draw from the outside first. I'm not going to use the background in here. Neither the background positions. Actually, the background positions should not exist anymore, to be honest. I'm not using it anymore. Check where declared their background positions here. Okay, it's gone. The funny thing about the compiler of C++ is that if you have something that is not being used, it doesn't add to the project. It does nothing. So if it mistakenly forgot something like a large memory declaration, something like that, but it's not used anywhere, it's not going to use any memory. It's not going to even include in the compilation. It's going to ignore. Okay, declare the layer. And when everything else is done in here, I should now have the layer height, because I can compare the layer position. Get the current height minus the position. Oops. And should give me the size of the layer in terms of space. That should do it in theory, at least. Just out of curiosity, I want to check what's going to be that value. That's what's going to be this value here. Let's check what's going on. And some more water. Mm-hmm. Set it to 0. The first layer, the layer screw height, is going to be 0 with the position. Positioning declared correctly. Yes, it's declared correctly. So and it adds the sound generator size. It's finding correctly the sound generator. It finds sample player 0. This guy should be 0 when we start. Goes in here. I'll have to debug this. Maybe I just not seeing something obvious. Okay, the first 0. And now it's different. It's different. It's still loading the preset. Check that. Appeared in the Okay. Hmm, happening. I think it's how to call that. The thread has been called 2 times. You know the result is it's loading something. It still doesn't make any sense. You know, it's correct. I have to check that. Check when it's getting called the update interface. Loading said, oh, it's atomic. Okay. Atomic number just means that it has a bit extra stuff to the variable. Oh, I hate when this happens. Check where this variable is getting called. Just in there. Huh. Just want to double check it's not running 2 times. Reason. It's not. That's just weird. Not 0. Just added something. Okay. Sometimes multi-threading can be a pain in the neck. Let's just. Ooh, during the update, let that finish up. Check the overall size and also your now we hunt bugs. What could be happening? The next step is to actually debug and step through, see what's going on. But I'm pretty sure that if I debug it, it's going to work. That's the annoying part. All the values correct. So there is an option here, and it's actually very simple to test. Okay. Now let me remove this from here because it's a pain in the neck. I'm just going to check at the bottom. Can back. Hmm. Same thing. There must be something I'm doing wrong, of course, but what? Well, I'm going to remove a few things out. Just in case, I'm not going to create components in here. Position height. Would say that it's likely that I'm doing something wrong in terms of memory. Should work. Okay, I give up. Let's debug. File. Hit point in here. Just in case blocking message in here blocks out, and I can check the values. Okay, start. Other window, going to attach the process. Message box. Range. Didn't get in there. Let's close it. Oh, now it crashed. Or I don't need key. It's crashing on the show value. I'm going to remove that and try to attach the process as quick as possible. But since this is an external application, very complicated work with because it closes by itself. Well, that's something I forgot about. The layer over layer positions haven't been computed yet. That's why it's been 0. Ah, I forgot that. So the solution is actually not that hard. have to wait before things are computed in the initialization, or it calls the user update interface. So see, this is called on the OpenGL user update interface. Just going to create another variable called OK. And if it's okay, I can continue it with the rest of the stuff. Now it should be able to check the size of this. Check the size of this. So it was a thread problem. Here you go. There. Ah, and of course, at least it didn't take me 2 hours to figure this one out. Threads 71225. Now it's correct. Perfect. Perfect now. Now I need a list. So array first y list. So I know where it starts each generator. So generators y add. I forgot to put layer name. And there. I don't need an atomic anymore. That's just bit overkill. So that's just back it like that. That should do it. And now I should have all the all the information I need to draw the layer overlay. Put here on the other repaint. False. Use like repaint. Use set repaint for mistaking. Yes. And oh, as soon as it's created, it has to repaint. Now the complicated process is that I don't want to create a very large image like very tall image that I just screw around because that would take a lot of memory. So now comes the hard part. It's how to figure out the math to draw just a portion. It's not hard, it's just a bit of thinking that needs. So the first thing is the background. Let's go. Wait. There's as that side pixel game engine. Just so it's easier for me to track down what's going on. I'm going to create a new file just for that. Because it's going to be a very large file. I created a file, layers draw. Vacationing. And then I can create a layers draw class call draw layers. I like to use these long lines to separate things. See if it's not going to complain about everything. Because uh, yeah, it's already starting complaining about this. This always happens when I recompile my file. I don't know why. Not a big deal. I just remove it. Works. Could be because this is a project that's based on another project. So it's sharing a few files from another project. And maybe some duplicates are happening. Okay, draw layers. The first thing I'm going to check if there is any layer that needs to be redrawn. Are layers. So this is the first thing that we're going to run. Check very fast happen. So if it needs to redraw, it's going to worry about that. Going to process the layer. So the first thing you have to draw is the background. What's the name? Always forget. The main background we need to redraw because we're going to put some transparent stuff on top of it. But we don't need to draw everything. We just all partial equal. Then we need a position. So now we need to set this in the skin file. So now I have to go to the skin file, set what's going to be the position of the layer's background. Put this around here. There. To use anymore. Background. My dog's here asking for be pet. It's a pincher. It's a miniature Doberman. Yeah. Okay, so you need a rectangle to know where to draw the background layer, background action, and this needs to be read during the startup process. Let's put it in here, same place where I load other stuff. Needs to be there like that. Yes, same. How? Now I get from the skin file, skin settings, get int value, and I'm going to get the X, Y, width, and height. I W age. Oh, I forgot. Now we have the position, and now I have to calculate it. Let's calculate. If I recall, I started on a very. I'm going to show you. We have the background. Starters at the very left and top position here. But I can adjust that later, it's not a big deal. That gives me the size. Issue. 135. Going to be 0, 135. Then 3711, 2028. That's my layer background position. With that in mind, now I can go and draw my layer. So partial recall, let's see how it works. There's two ways of working. One has a scale and the other doesn't, so the other should be okay. You have the position. Now we can get values on the layer ground position. Okay. X, Y. Now we need the size. Size is the same thing mostly. Width. Height. I always get confused on how to say that. Now the decal is this guy here. And then the source position. So the source position is going to be the same as the positioning here. And the source size. Source size is the same size the call. The sprite actually. Yeah. Sprite. And the tint I'm not going to be using. Oh, I have to check why it's complaining. Usually it's because it wants a float of this, float of that. Try that. Oh, it's not that. What is missing? Oh, of course. Oh, in here I put in the wrong place. Come on, what's the problem now? Oh, that's correct. Really need to put float on everywhere. Not. Curious, that's. Let's just compile and see and remove all this nonsense stuff. Yeah. Don't need it. Move that, that. At least I type fast. Okay, you have the partial redrawing of the background, and I can test this already because it's going to try to redraw. Seems to be correct. So it's going to show the show value box, and then it's going to redraw the background. So we can take a look and see if it's drawing the right place by just comparing. Seems okay. You know better when you have the rest of the stuff on top. You know, remove that. And we're going to check again these. Set false. Oh, now the things starts getting a bit more complicated. So I'm checking now if this layers needs to be redrawn. For now, I'm just going to redraw anyway, just to see how it looks like. X always going to be the layer background position. I need another one. No, I can use the same one because it has to match. Going to be Y plus the layer position Y. It's going to be more than that, but just for now. So I'm going to go like this. But I need to be able to screw. So I have to use something as a base for the scrolling. Okay, now comes the part. We're going to use the width and height of the positions instead. So we have here the layer overlays positions, lay overlay. Then we have the top. And X is the actual position. And Y is the size of the thing. We can use the background width instead here. Now the offset is always 0, and the in be the overlay top X. Because I use the X and Y, X as a starting point and the Y as a total height of the height. Um, this should at least draw the top position, but without any scrolling. Yeah, but it's not. When I open the menu, to draw the call instead, just with the information here and the actual decal. Still not showing correctly. One thing I want to test how it's showing up on Reaper. Loading correctly. Should. Okay, let me just think now. Set repaint, repulse. Just in case, I'm going to check what is showing there. Because it should be showing one time and then stopping. Let that looks correct. Just want to check if it has loaded correctly. Oh, it should show a big thing on top of everything. It's not showing anything. That's just weird. Maybe it has haven't even loaded the file. Has most likely loaded the file. Oh, I think I know what it is. There's a variable that I set when something needs to be drawn. It's the update screen. I forgot to take care of that. Just simple as that. There we go. Big mess. It's missing the background. Okay, so I do need to update the screen every time there's something to be redrawn in the layers. So these and these guys I don't need. Now I can check if the background is correctly. Yeah, sometimes it's a pain in the neck to get things done, but that's just how my brain works. Yeah, now we have another problem. Oh boy. Okay. So let me check. There's one thing I remember that there is a small problem with the draw partial decal. See if it's draw correctly now. Instead of the whole decal length. Yeah, now it's correct. Just missing the overlay now. Just see again. Yeah, it's drawing on top of the overlay. It's a small boxed overlay that if you look at the borders of the gray area, here there's an overlay here. So it should be added last. So I have to check on my code when I'm adding it. So it adds last. So I actually created. Where do I create it? I don't remember where I create the objects. Oh, here the overlay. So it's in the components. It should do it. Double check where I'm calling the draw layers before all the items. So it should work okay. So now another thing I have to worry about. Well, actually not. I'm thinking on something else. This is going to be a very painfully redraw. We don't have an object. Think on something. Process faster. Okay, so far good. Should also should draw the top of the layer where the amplitude, the envelope, filter, that stuff goes. Overlays on top again. Doesn't look perfect, but have to put it a bit lower here so it shows the red line on top. But the thing is, so one thing changes on the layer, so the whole thing doesn't need to be redraw. Just that area. That's going to get a bit more complicated, but not as much. So the background layer is fixed. What what I'm selecting here, I'm going to have two things: the layer redraw and the other stuff redraw. So the layer redraw is actually not so hard to do. Just one thing I'm going to do is change the position of the Y here around 42, let's say. Look a bit better because the red line is not showing the overlays on top. Can be a bit more to be exact. Starting to look okay, but there's still another background that goes in there. I'm going to make it a little more darker, or it's going to be a darker background. Look better. Okay, now it looks correct. Now I have to worry about the layer background. And just have something there. I'm going to draw quickly here. Layer. Okay, this is starting to look better. Just this line, I don't know where it is. I have to check. It's on the file or where it is. I think it's trying to repeat the file itself. Pretty sure that's the problem. Yeah, that was the problem. It was just repeating and cutting. So it's very likely that at the top or at the bottom there is a lighter gray line. So okay, the problem now is how to screw all this information. So the idea is to check, is the object visible? If not, we don't draw. If it is, we start drawing and a partial to what it needs to be drawing on the screen. So that's the second part now. Just going to take a quick look at the file, the background file, if there is no gray lines. Quick look. There is a bit of a change in color at the top, like a bevel again. We're going to remove, pushed up. As 1,100 pixels are be okay now. And need to recompile this because if I don't recompile now, I'm going to forget, and eventually I'm going to lose another hour just trying to figure out the, the line because that's just how it works. So okay, that's it for this video. I'm going to take a break and maybe I'm going to do another video later on or maybe tomorrow. So thanks for watching.